A big part of the work that I do is helping my clients discover their soul mission and their soul purpose. And for so many of the clients that I work with, we are multidimensional beings and we have multiple missions and multiple purposes. But I was recently doing a one-on-one mentorship session where we uncovered her soul mission clear as day. And we also channeled so much information that I myself was like, oh my God, like it was life changing even for me as the practitioner. So I needed to share it with you here. This session was all about finding who she is, what she's meant to be doing, how she's meant to be spending her time, her ideal routines, her ideal rituals. And so often the reason that we can't stick to the routines and rituals that we see online is because they don't align with our soul purpose and our soul mission. You can find your soul mission by looking at your inner child, by looking at your ancestral history, by looking at your past lives, your parallel lives, your chakra imbalances, and the healing practices that support you the most. There's so many different ways that we can access your soul mission, but my favorite way to do it is to combine all of these different methods as well as astrology and human design and Akashic channeling. So the way that my sessions work when I do mentorship sessions, and I take very, very few mentorship students at a time so that we can really dive into these practices together. But how it works is I often will ask my clients questions and then I will tap into their higher self and channel some answers for them. So the answers that were channeled for her higher self were not only shocking and absolutely life-changing for her, but they were also absolutely shocking and life-changing for me. We realized in this session that she was actually a grid worker. And this is a client, words. This is a client that has worked with higher level wisdom, psychics, astral travelers, channelers, Reiki masters, all of these different sorts of spiritually supportive people for many, many years. She knew the term grid worker. It had been shared with her before, but she didn't understand exactly what it was or how it pertained to her. So this session was groundbreaking for her because for so many of us, when it comes to these spiritual topics, they are explained in incredible ways. Actually, after the session, I went and I asked one of my friends who is literally like a professional wizard, like such a tuned in, connected person. And I asked them if they were a grid worker or what they knew about being a grid worker. And the definition that they gave me was that this is someone who's able to transcend interdimensional planes and astral travel to do collective like peace work for beings of all dimensions. And while this is very much true, like that answer is true. That is the definition. The reason that so many of us don't resonate with answers like that is because how can you see yourself in that answer? For me personally, I've taught myself how to astral travel, so that answer does resonate with me. But before, excuse me, before I learned how to astral travel, I would have been like, what does that even mean? How do I do grid work? How does that even pertain to me? I would have just glossed over it entirely. And that's exactly what happened for my client. My client found herself not really relating to those words, not really relating to someone who transcends planes and, all of these different topics, but someone who's really struggling with finding those daily routines, someone who wants to feel more connected to their intuition, wants to feel more connected to the earth, wants to feel more eco-friendly and like they are doing their soul purpose for the collective in this lifetime, all of those sorts of things. And she just wasn't feeling like she was doing it. She wasn't feeling like she was becoming her, that girl, that empowered version of her, that sacred woman that she knows that she's meant to be. So learning that she was a grid worker was actually the thing that bridged the gap between her current self or her self during that session, which identified more with her insecurity, feeling burdened by her sensitivities and her emotions and her thoughts, to launching over here into this like divine, feminine, sacred, connected, intuitive woman. So this information was absolutely pivotal for her in so many ways. And we realized that she actually is a grid worker. And the reason that she actually is a grid worker, even though she doesn't understand the whole like transcending planes and things like that, is because of this. And maybe you might be a grid worker too, which is why you clicked on this video. When you see the collective consciousness, or when you see the, how do I explain it? The matrix, yeah, like the word matrix is coming up. The matrix or the skeleton of our universe, like that framework that all life comes from, we can kind of see this as a grid in a way. We can see the collective consciousness as a grid. Excuse me. And one of the ways that we can see this is you can picture it. I don't know if you guys ever saw those, like, I feel like it was a logo that was in the 90s that had the whole globe and it was showing cell service. So it showed like a globe or sorry, a grid across the whole entire globe to show that like Wi-Fi covers the whole entire world or something like that. Maybe it's just an image that I'm making up. Let me know in the comments if I am absolutely making this up or if you know what I'm talking about. So that is how I see the collective consciousness. There's areas in the world, there's currently areas that are under war, that are under famine, that the collective consciousness, the grid is much lower. So if there's this like invisible grid that runs along the earth, this is the surface of the earth, this is the collective consciousness, there's parts of the grid that it's a lot lower and there's parts of the grid that it's a lot higher. And if you identify as a grid worker and you understand the collective consciousness or you see yourself as a part of it, this isn't something to believe in or not believe in, by the way. There's so many studies that show evidence of the collective consciousness. There's so many studies of putting monks into certain areas, having them meditate for 24 hours a day, and suddenly everyone in the area has an improved health, improved happiness, improved financial situations, etc., etc. So the collective consciousness grid is a real thing. It's just whether or not you feel personally resonant to it. And if you do feel resonant with this information and you do think about things like the collective consciousness and your role in it all, then you probably are a grid worker. And when we pour into ourselves, when we do self-care, when we work on our mindset, when we try to live a healthier, happier life, we are actually doing sacred grid work. Grid work is not just transcending dimensions and talking to interdimensional beings. Like, it might be that for you. Grid work also might be hosting sound baths for your community. It also could be bringing muffins to a new neighbor in your neighborhood. Did that make sense? Neighbor in your neighborhood? Yeah, I think that makes sense. Your grid work might be doing your hair that day so that you feel good and you smile at more people. And when they ask you how you're doing, you're like, I'm doing great. How are you doing? And you suddenly feel excited to talk to them. That could be your grid work. Your grid work could be getting your nails done. If that boosts your personal frequency, your grid work could be going on a 6-week nervous system regulation course to finally heal your patterns of burnout so that you feel like the person that you always know that you've been meant to be. Why are words not working? We've been channeling a lot today so far. So I don't know if words are working as well, but if you understand what I'm saying, please, please, please comment down below and let me know, or just send me a message on Instagram letting me know that this resonated with you and that you got some takeaways from this video. The breakthrough in this channeled session was that grid work does not have to be complex. And also grid work can look very different depending on the person. What we're calling grid work is really just making choices to be your healthiest and happiest self. And maybe that's going to McDonald's. Maybe that's going to the nicest restaurant that you can possibly find, or only eating organic, or cutting out sugar and salt and caffeine and alcohol and just being completely free of all mind-altering substances for years. I've done both of those things, and both of those things have been part of my grid work. And I want you to know that maybe that is the case for you as well. So often we doubt our own journey. We doubt our intuition, but your intuition is showing you your next step. Maybe your intuition is telling you that You don't want to eat meat right now, and it's time to try some vegan lifestyle habits or having a meat-free day once a week or something like that. Maybe that is your grid work. It is so, so important to be into yourself. What is coming up for you? We are all so collectively tuned into things on the media right now. We know about TikTok trends. We know about all of the trending sounds. We can sing them to each other. We have viral dances and all of this stuff. But what about the trends that are going on within your nervous system? The things that are coming up for you, the things that you feel called to do. Maybe you're listening to this on the way to work right now and you're thinking to yourself, wow, I really wish I didn't have work today. I wish that I could just go do, what is it? What is it that you wish that you could go do? That is your grid work. And we're not meant to do grid work 150% of the time. I'm not saying skip the day of work, but I am saying write that down because your intuition is showing you exactly what you should do when you get off work, exactly how you should plan your next free day that you have free time, exactly what you can look forward to when you are up late scrolling and you're like, wow, I really should get to bed. And then you remind yourself, oh yeah, I'm going to the river tomorrow to pretend that I'm a mermaid and twerk for the forest fairies because that's what my soul wants to do. I better go to bed. I'm like so excited to go do this. Your grid work is whatever excites you and makes you feel enthusiastic. And your grid work, the work that is helping the collective consciousness, is also helping you. It is also helping you. If this is our first time meeting, then maybe you don't know that at 18, I was diagnosed with a handful of really, really intense chronic illnesses, and I was prescribed medication for the rest of my life. And this is when I had a profound spiritual awakening, and something within me just knew that I was not created in a way that was so flawed that I would have to be on the crutches of medications for the absolute rest of my life. And I healed myself not by doing a ton of shadow work, a ton of therapy, a ton of inner child healing, focusing on the trauma, focusing on the pain, or any of those things that we feel like we're supposed to do. That is not the path to health and happiness. I healed myself by allowing myself to be happy. At first, it was just maybe 10 minutes a week that I could just allow myself to not think about my stresses and my anxieties and things like that, which was way harder said, way harder to do than to say. You get what I'm saying? And eventually it turned into 10 minutes a day, an hour a day, a few hours a day. Simply doing things that make you feel healthy and happy is your purpose. You might find after a year of doing this, wow, I have a whole collection of paintings that I absolutely love and I can sell each of these for like $50,000 a canvas. Maybe from being healthy and happy, your children are suddenly more inspired to like go for their goals, try different sports, do different things. Just your energy has changed the trajectory of your whole entire family. Maybe just choosing to be healthy and happy allows you to have the clarity to make a lot of other decisions about things that you've been avoiding, and it makes you have much higher levels of soul confidence for the rest of your life. Every single time we make the choice to put ourselves first, to be selfish, to do what makes us happy and healthy. My dog is scratching. Let me scratch her real quick. Here she is doing what makes her healthy and happy, right? She's like, I don't care that you're filming. I just have to scratch my neck. It's important. Right? As children, we allow ourselves to be the center of attention. If you need to scream about a tater tot falling on the floor, you are letting everyone know that your tater tot fell on the floor. But as an adult, for some reason, we're too embarrassed. At some point in that journey, we develop shame, we develop guilt about taking up space, about being healthy and happy. Being embarrassed of the human experience, suppressing your tears, trying to play it cool when your tater tots fell on the floor because you don't want to cry like a baby and get attention on yourself and all of this sort of stuff, you are suppressing your intuition when you do this. And your intuition, the deep inner soul calling, soul wisdom, it's illuminating your path for you. Whatever makes you feel healthiest and happy, you are always one choice away from a healthier and happier life and from being more intuitively connected, more connected to your higher self, and more connected to your soul wisdom. And when we make this one choice, it creates momentum. It's like a snowball effect. And every single day, moving on, it becomes easier and easier to listen to your intuition. Your intuition becomes much more loud, much more clear. You can trust yourself to a whole new degree. You blossom, you embody, you evolve. And this is what it's all about, right? This is really what it's all about. If any of this has resonated with you so far, I want to personally invite you to join the Temple of Earth Wisdom. This is my membership where I go live, share personalized channeled guidance and practices with you. I also have an entire vault of practices that I share with you. As soon as you sign up, you get over 40 different trainings, modules, everything from somatic therapy, learning your body type, what to eat, what to avoid, practices that are super, super fun for you that you can look forward to doing every single day that instantly connect you with your intuition so that you can know exactly what your next step is every single step of the way. And of course, it's a beautiful community of like-minded souls who are all rising together and connecting with our higher selves together. So I just wanted to share that invitation with you. All you have to do to get started is check out the description box down below. You will find more information over there. If you have any questions about your own personal journey, any suggestions, requests for topics or guidance that you want for me to share in these episodes, in these videos, all you have to do is send me a message over on Instagram at Marissa Remy. You can also send me an email at marissaremy@gmail.com. And I'm really excited to further connect with you and welcome you into this community. Make sure that you are subscribed if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up because it really, really does help me. And I will see you in our next episode.